Welcome back to Practice Intimacy. This is the place to be to create the relationships, the love life, the sex life that you've always wanted. I'm Jami Lynn, and today what we're going to talk about is how to use therapy well. And for me, the way that this overlaps with intimacy is one, the whole point of therapy is to create more intimacy with yourself. It is a practice where once a week you spend an hour creating intimacy with yourself and another person, because there is a relationship. You are building a relationship with that therapist. They are going to give you input and share their knowledge with you. But in the end, you get the most out of therapy by paying attention to yourself. And so what I'm going to really talk to you about is how to pay attention to yourself well, how to share that with the therapist, and what to kind of be on the lookout for as you're going through a therapeutic relationship to get the most out of the work that you possibly can. So that you know, if you're new here, I am a therapist. I've been working with clients now for a little over 7 years, and this work is my passion. I love it. I love helping people figure out ways in which to change their life and improve their life. So to begin with, let me give you just broad overview of the thing to do to get the most out of therapy. Become really clear about your goals. And one of the ways you can do this is to ask yourself the question, if I got exactly what I wanted from therapy, if we knock it out of the park and it is an amazing experience, what will be different in my life? And as you listen to the information that comes up, just noticing, okay, so am I going to feel different? Is my relationship going to be different in some way? And what would that actually look like? Are we going to talk to each other more? Are we going to be having more sex? Are we going to be having the same amount of sex, but it feels better? Am I going to have a larger business in the future? Am I going to have a closer relationship with my kids? Am I going to be more assertive? Get really, really clear about what your goal is. And as you're working in therapy, have your mindset on that goal. Measure it. As you're seeing the person that you're working with, have some way of asking yourself, okay, if this is knock it out of the park, amazing, my life has changed in exactly the way I'm hoping for, is it starting to move in that direction? Is that beginning to happen a little bit and build in my life? Let me give a real quick example. If I have a client coming to me who's saying, I want to feel like I'm enough and I want to be less insecure in my relationships. Awesome, great goal. So then the measurable ways to see that might be, okay, are you being more vulnerable and open with your partner and telling them what you're feeling in the moment? And is it bringing y'all close together? Are you experiencing the same kind of anxiety whenever they're out doing something, or has that eased? Do you find yourself wanting to check their phone, or has that particular impulse gone away? Having clear ways to measure. Am I working towards my goal? Am I getting there? Are things changing? Because in reality, therapy does take time, and it's not going to happen all overnight. And so having a way to measure this goal over time will be helpful to you. I personally, in my own work with therapists, I've journaled. Also, I'm someone who takes breaks. I don't see a therapist consistently. I work on the piece of my life that needs some change. I have a specific goal I want to work on. And once I feel like that's completed, I take pauses. I give myself time to integrate it. And so know that you can also do that. You can have a specific thing you want to work on. Continually focus on that with your therapist and do check-ins around it. And then when you feel like you've completed that, unless you have something else you want to work on, or if you just like therapy, want to stay in it, take breaks and then come back whenever you have something new you want to work on. So that's one thing you can do to get a lot out of therapy, is have a very specific goal. If I get exactly what I want from this, what will be different in my life? and then have some way to measure, am I getting towards that change? Is it actually happening from the work we're doing? The other thing that I think is really helpful to know about working with a therapist is that really it's all about you. And any input the therapist gives you, it's going to hopefully, unless they're not doing a great job, hopefully be because of something you've shared with them. They're never going to be bringing in content for y'all to work on, at least not if you're doing depth work. If you're doing more like behavioral work, cognitive behavioral work, yes, they're going to bring worksheets and things like that, and you'll be going through whatever they have planned for you. But if you're doing depth work, psychoanalysis type therapy, then you're going to be coming into the office and bringing whatever's going on in your life, and then the therapist will listen and add as needed. So, how do you know what to bring into the office? There's a few ways to do this. One is just by tracking your system. Our brain speaks to us in many different ways, and I would say that there's 5 main ways that our brain speaks to us. One is thoughts, chatter that goes on in our mind, the words that we say to ourselves in our mind. One is body sensations, the particular feelings that come up in our body. One is through emotions. So this is like the states that we're in. Do I feel happy? Do I feel sad? Do I notice some sadness in my heart, but some anger in my jaw? So those would be feelings, emotions. Images, which images can actually be a lot of things. It could be a picture, but it could also be a memory. And when I say memory, I mean it could be a memory like I'm recalling this time that I was in the car and it was very scary, or it could be like I have a memory of what it felt like to be under my blanket. And that would actually be an image. And then the last one is behavior. Our system speaks to us in behavior. So if I'm, driving my car and I have road rage in one moment and there's a part of me that wants to like flick somebody off, that's behavior. Or if I'm having a conversation with my partner and there's a part of me that wants to move closer and be more sexual, behavior impulse. Or I'm having a conversation with my partner and there's a part of me that wants to throw something across the room, behavior impulse. I don't ever suggest doing that one. That is a boundary violation. That is actually an act of violence. If you need help not throwing things, I will make some videos about it. I haven't thought about doing this before, but I will, because that is actually something I used to do in my relationships, and it is something that I learned how to stop doing because it is not helpful and it is not healthy. Tangent, sorry. We're back now. So these are the 5 different ways in which your brain communicates information to you. Thoughts, body sensations, emotions, images, and then behavior impulses. And if you watch yourself throughout the entire time that you're in therapy, and the only things that you share the whole time is what's happening right now as I think about whatever my goal is, I notice that my heart squeezes and gets tight, or I notice this image of myself on the 3rd floor of a building hanging onto the railing looking terrified, or I notice a feeling of sadness that makes my body feel really heavy and tired, or I notice that a part of me wants to scream at the top of my lungs. Those are the things to share in the moment in your therapy sessions. And there's a couple reasons why this is helpful. One is that gives you direction as to what's actually going on inside of you, what's actively running now, so that you know what's there and you have the potential to change it later. You can't change anything until you know what's going on. And so part of it is just being aware of what's there and knowing, here's what's happening with me, because that gives you direction. The other reason why this is so helpful is because witnessing your own mind in the present moment is going to build neurological connections that allow you to operate from the highest, I don't want to say highest in like hierarchy, terms, because all the different parts of the brain are important. But when we talk about enlightenment, highest states of being, the parts of our brains that we're developing are the newest parts of our brain, the prefrontal cortex in particular. And when you create the ability to watch your own mind as it's giving you information in these 5 different categories, then you're myelinating the part of your brain that does witnessing, and it's part of your prefrontal cortex. And so you're engaging and basically like strengthening the part of your brain that is going to emotionally regulate, going to help you be more rational, going to help you be more empathic. It's going to help you be more compassionate and loving. And so there's all of these benefits that come just by teaching yourself to watch yourself in this way. It doesn't only help with your therapeutic goals, but it also literally changes your brain in a positive way. The final thing I would say to do in order to get the most out of therapy that you possibly can, and this is the one that people are like, oh God, I know she's right, but this sucks. The last thing is move towards discomfort. Whatever feels uncomfortable, whatever feels vulnerable and scary, that is actually where the juice is. You will get the most out of your therapeutic process if you continually help yourself move in the direction of, this is hard to talk about, this is scary, I don't want to share it. And it is hard. It is so hard. We don't want to talk about the things that are painful and difficult and vulnerable. And that is actually what will help us create change in our life. So when in doubt, move into discomfort. Find the thing that feels scary to share. And you don't even have to say what it is yet. Just tell your therapist, oh, there's something that's really, really terrifying for me to share. I'm so uncomfortable. Can we talk about the discomfort? And a good therapist is just going to stay with you in that space, not even pushing you to say the thing, but instead like, okay, why is it so scary? What's this discomfort telling you would happen if you did share? I hope this is helpful to you. Anyone you know who is in therapy, if you think this could help them out in getting more out of that process, please share it with them. And remember to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. You will get more tips and tools about, in this case, therapy in general, but really in the end about building intimacy, about creating relationships, a love life, and a sex life that makes you really, really satisfied. I look forward to seeing you in future videos. Bye for now.